Since publishing my video on how to split axe cut wood with an axe, you know, it's not flat, so you can't stand it up on a block, and people were like, how do you split that? And there's two basic methods, but I wanted to address a mistake I see people making. I consider it a mistake. It's something I try not to do myself because I don't consider it safe. But the basic problem is that the axe can, if you don't do this right, or you wobble too much or hit it wrong, the axe can glance and come back in this direction. And so if you're standing here, the axe can come right towards you. Now with a saw cut end, it's a little bit less of a problem because you have this big target area to hit. And as you can see with the sloped cut like this, let's say that I had it, especially if I had it this way and I was trying to hit it on the end, it's just that much easier for things to go wrong. And it can really be a wicked fast, hard, almost right angle turn. So if I had been standing, you know, over here, if I'm just standing here where it's comfortable to stand, I'm in trouble, big trouble. That's a lot of force. You know, if you're swinging this thing like you mean it and you really want to split this piece of wood in half, you're going to have some serious speed going and a lot of energy stored up in that axe head. And very little of that energy is going to get used up glancing off of this, and so most of it's coming right at your feet. That's where it's comfortable to stand. It helps a little to tilt the piece, you know, or pick pieces to hit that are not standing straight up and down with like the way the axe is going to hit it. So really this is kind of ideal at sort of a 45-degree angle, and I can come in here and just pop that right there. And that makes it definitely safer. And there are other things you can do. You can also kind of push your axe in a certain direction. But even so, you have to have confidence in your swing that you're going to hit the end of this thing square and that this isn't going to be tilted. Another thing is that when you split wood like this, it really helps to give the axe a pop sideways as it comes into the wood. Kind of just twist my wrist and pop the axe sideways like that. But if you do that this way, then you're more at risk of hurting yourself. So definitely do it this way, like kick it that way away from you. But someone who's, you know, really, really confident with their axe and is just really sure they can hit it, they're going to be less cautious about things like that. But look what happened there. There's like a chip there, and I hit the chip. So I hit the chip first. What's that going to do? So what I do, typically, I try to do all the time, is I draw a line there. So I'm like 90-degree angle, and I want to be on this side of the line. It's much harder. It's harder to be accurate. It's harder to get the power. It's just awkward. Like, it's so much easier. The ideal place for me to stand doing this is kind of maybe about like this, where I'm right there. Get over here, suddenly standing in the same position, you're like swinging awkwardly behind you. Some people stand this way, but I don't find that that works super well for me. I like to stand slightly, so I'm slightly swinging back behind me like this. But it makes it awkward. But, you know, the option is for you to stand in the danger zone right here. You can stand over it like this, but you really kind of need to be in front of it, the same almost 90-degree line. And then that's pretty awkward because you're going to hit yourself in the junk with the handle, and it doesn't really work that way very good, for me anyway. And I think it's important that we're keenly aware that this can happen. And that's really the thing that's going to make it possible for you to stay more safe doing this, because this is a really high potential for a serious injury, maybe worse than bucking, because you're going to have almost, you know, all the power in almost every case coming right at you. Okay, so this one didn't split. I definitely hit it close enough to the middle. It's a little bit off, but not too far. But look at these big knots over here. So there's at least 4 good size knots there. Sometimes this method just doesn't really cut it. So a good alternative method for that is to lay the piece on against a log and then chop downward like this and use this as a backing. It provides like a hard surface to hit against, and it keeps the axe from hitting you. Now the mistake people will make with this is to swing in too much of an arc, so that if the axe goes through or it kind of cuts through here, it can keep going, bounce off the top, and come this way. So with this one, it's really important to aim your axe in the direction you want the bit to go and kind of push it downward. See the angle the axe is at? And you can see the danger if I were to swing this way and come through that really easy, which it might if I hit it right in the middle like I did, then it can keep coming through this way. So I said most of that in my other video, which was called something like splitting axe cut wood with an axe or something like that. I just wanted to re-emphasize because that video is information overload. I'm not sure that people, you know, everybody came away with that important message. And I do think it's really important. Again, you know, regardless of what you end up doing based on your experience and comfort level, I don't think anyone should ever forget that possibility exists for the axe to glance off of the end of the wood and come this way. You could say, oh, well, you know, it'd have to be like, if I'm shooting at this is what, 2.5 inches from the middle to the edge or something like that, so it'd have to be 2.5 inches off. Well, have you ever been 2.5 inches off when you're trying to split or chop wood? I have. I mean, it still happens occasionally. I don't know what happens. Things just go wrong. You might get the angle wrong or hit something on the way down. By standing, you know, making this right angle here and just visualizing that and staying on this side of it, it's kind of like a redundant safety so that if anything goes wrong that you're not able to predict or prevent, then you're in good standing, so to speak. Today's YouTube video is about splitting axe cut wood with an axe. Do you need flat cut sawn ends? You do not. Do you need a splitting stump? You do not. Ugh. Do you need a splitting maul? No, don't need that. How about a heavy axe with a long handle? We don't need that. How about a blunt factory edge that's all fat and dull so it won't get stuck and it'll split better? We don't need that either. How about a wedge? Forget it. With persistence, technique, strategy, and can-do attitude and all that good stuff, you can use the same thin ground, sharp axe that you use for chopping the thing down and bucking it. You hear that sound? Oh yeah! I love that sound. That sound. The sound of wood exploding in half. It's quicker. It's funner. It's better.